Hey everybody, CamiBaker.com. I am fabulous, fierce, and on fire. And so is my guest today, Fabulous, Fierce, and on Fire Fridays with friends featuring Manny Lopez. I am so excited to have Manny on. And normally when I do one of these, I have been so fortunate as to find so many fabulous and fierce people in the world that I bring on people that I've met here or there or have talked to. Manny and I actually are not friends other than friends on Facebook, but this man is rocking it. He's killing it. He is all over the place. He has got a lot of speaking engagements. He is rubbing elbows with the movers and shakers in the world. So we are so fortunate to have him with us to bless us with some information today and to just really inspire and uplift and help all of our business owners out there. Manny, tell us a little bit of something about yourself. Tell us something people don't normally know about you.
Something they don't normally know about me. Okay. Wow, that's hard. Throw me a left curveball right there, huh? All right. Something they wouldn't know about me, I would say, is I am a big fan of Chipotle. I love Chipotle. It's really amazing food, but I don't really talk about it too much. So I would say that's one thing they don't know about me yet. Wow, that's hard. Throw me a left curveball right there. All right. Something they. Oh, we've got a delay. I would say is.
I'm sorry, Manny. I had another screen going on and I was all kinds of confused.
I was like, whoa, I'm coming in like 10 seconds later.
I'm sorry. My Facebook was on in the background. I was like, what's going on? So
that's
say that one more time real quick.
Okay, so Chipotle, I'm like a super big fan of Chipotle. I love the food there. So that would be something I don't normally talk about too much, but I would think that would be something maybe they don't know about me, because I'm really transparent. I talk about everything. So it's like, man, what do I not talk about?
I love Chipotle too. And they always have the freshest food. And when they had that whole thing a while back where some people got sick, I was really upset about that. I thought somebody's sabotaging our favorite restaurant, Manny.
I know it was right after they did mention they were going non-GMO. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, it might be that I brought that up because as a networking expert, my book, Mingle to Millions, I talk to people about networking and getting rid of the 30-second elevator pitch. So one of the things that I share with people to do when you start a new conversation, instead of asking people, hey, what do you do? What do you do? Hey, tell me something about you has nothing to do with your work or where you're from, because that will create a whole different conversation. So now that you've said that, well, I'm so transparent and people don't, like I tell everybody everything. I kind of had the same thing happen a couple of weekends. I went to a retreat and it was time to do some process work. We were all taking our turns getting up in front of the group and processing whatever we were trying to, get past or whatever. And I'm up in front of the group and most people that freaks them out, and that one thing helps them shift and process out of something. But being up in front, she said, Cami, what is it that would make you feel really uncomfortable right now? And just like you, I was like, I don't know. Nothing really makes me feel uncomfortable because I just get out there and do it. So, Manny, what in the world had you become so transparent and go from your website is orphan to CEO?
From orphan to CEO, yes. It's really the story of me and what I'm trying to do with the world. I started my journey very young. 18 months is where everything kind of changed for me. I went from being in a family to being left in a car with nothing but a diaper on. And I was put in a foster care with my sister, who was also left in that same car with, again, nothing but a diaper on. The police report said the diapers had looked like they'd been soaked for days. And we were put in a foster care where we were then adopted and returned 7 different times like an unwanted birthday toy. And it really kind of messed things up a little bit. But at the same time, we ended up finding an 8th family who took us in. And it was a really unique journey growing up and still kind of being lost by 20. I didn't have what I now know is what saved me, which was mentorship and entrepreneurship. At 20 years old, somebody discovered me. Somebody came to me and said, Manny, I think there's something special inside you, and I want to work with you. I want to teach you what I know, and because you're trying to get where I'm at. and let me teach you how to get there. Right. And I didn't even know what the word mentor was. I was just like, sure, man, I'm just starting here at this job, and I'm more than happy to have you help me out. Right. And he became my boss. And then at the same time, he was also a pastor at a church. And so he would tie in a lot of the teachings that he talks about with his life experience, and it really just taught me how to get to where I needed to get to, at least the first step. Right. He taught me, he said, man, you need to start following and listening to people who have massive success. People like Les Brown. Right. He's an orphan just like you. Right. He was labeled mentally challenged in school just like you. Right. Follow somebody like that who's had massive success, and follow a path that you could, see clearly. And that's what really changed a lot of things for me. And it's kind of why I'm on this journey I am on today.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because I was adopted, and I too feel like, they say that when you're in your mother's womb, and depends on what you believe, but that even the baby in the womb is taking on the mother's feelings and fears and thoughts, and so for both of us, having been conceived and brought into a reality where we weren't wanted. I don't know about you, but I find that I'm always trying to overcompensate and prove that I'm worthy. If I prove myself worthy, you'll keep me around. Do you ever feel that way?
That's exactly the mindset I had that for many years, and why I always waited for somebody else to give me an opportunity. Right. And that's what a mentor instilled in me. He said, man, you don't have to wait for somebody to give you an opportunity. Right. You can build your own dream. You don't have to build somebody else's. This is how you do it. You go into entrepreneurship. You find something that you like to do. You turn that into a business, and then you capture the leaders. Because if you capture the leaders, you'll capture the market. And man, it was amazing advice that totally just switched things for me, because that led me on a path of starting to be what I always tell people, which is to be too blessed to be stressed. Right? Always find the good in the things that you come across in life, because everything you're going to come across is either a lesson or a blessing. Right? You're either going to learn something, you need to learn an experience that needs to get you into something that you're going to come across in the future, or it's a blessing that you just need to be thankful for and be grateful that you have it. Right? Because there's so many people that just wished in life they could have that one blessing that you get probably on a daily basis.
It's either a lesson or a blessing. And I've also heard it can make you bitter or it can make you better.
I love it.
Aren't there so many great ways of looking at that? I was just sitting with a client of mine yesterday who was talking about how he sat for 50 years with something that had happened to him in his life. And after 50 years of looking at it as, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why me? That he's finally gotten over it. And he's wanting to use that in his coaching. The beautiful thing for you is you've gotten this lesson so early in life. You can spend the next 50 years teaching people about mentorship, et cetera. I know I've said before, if somebody had taught me about mentorship when I was 20, I'd be the president by now. Like I'd be the first female president. So tell me about maybe a story about somebody that you've worked with that you saw that they were where you were, and maybe they were going to go in the wrong direction, but working with you and seeing your material helped them to really step into mentorship.
Sure thing. So here's an example, a guy by the name of Ryan Taylor, and he's got a business. He came to me. It was a bucket list idea for him. He was like, Manny, I have this, I think it was like a 1930s Cadillac. It's a beautiful car, but it's like run down, doesn't work. It's like all beat up. And he's like, man, I've had a dream of being able to restore this car and be able to drive it around. And I want to develop this app idea where I could actually get people, think of it like an Uber for classic cars, right? Where instead of you getting picked up in a Prius, you can get picked up in like a Rolls Royce, right? Or a Bentley, right? Or something like really fancy. And I was like, dude, that's a genius concept. And so he had no idea how to get it done. He had no mentorship. He just had this idea he kept thinking about in this beat up car sitting in his garage. And so I worked with him. I worked with him on how to learn from where you need to learn from, the books you should be reading, the people you should be following, the events that you should be showing up to, how to actually formulate your idea into a monetizable business. Because your idea, no matter how great it could be, if you can't monetize it, it's no more than a hobby. So what I showed him how to do is how to formulate that. And I was like, you know what, I can actually help you build that. And today he's got an app called Classic Rides and More. And he's right now being sponsored by all kinds of major brands. His company is now taking off to, I think before we even launched his app, he had partnered with the limo company that had like over 1,000 locations that he was able to partner and build a brand with. There's all kinds of amazing things he's been able to do. I mean, he's accomplished so many things, and I think it's now 2 years that we've been working together. And I think that's one of my favorite success stories, because there's one thing there's a thing that he sent me. I can't talk about it, but it was literally like a vision board achievement that he was trying to do for his family that he had been doing for like 10 years and couldn't accomplish it. And he sent me the video and said, Manny, because of you, I was able to do this finally. And then he sent me like a month later, another accomplishment he's doing. And now here's where he came into mentoring. His son has now taken over that business and now learning entrepreneurship, mentorship, how to connect to the right people, how to build a business, how to build a monetizable and valuable business. Now, I mean, every time somebody asks me, what's your favorite success story? That one right there. It's always that one.
Now, what's the name of his business again? Classic Car what?
Classic Rides and More. It's an app. You go to the App Store and you can go find it in there. And then everything on his website, his social media, his whole network of like thousands and thousands of brands that he's working with. And it's all within just a couple of years because he took action. He showed up. I've worked with over 1,000 brands in worldwide in the last 7 years. And I would say that people, just the biggest difference make. It doesn't matter how much you invest, whether it's a couple $100 into your business or $10,000 more in your business. The ones who show up are the ones who have success. Now, this guy didn't have to invest thousands and thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars into his business to get this idea going. He invested a lot of time, resources, and very little bit of money to be able to get his idea off the ground. And then he showed up. And that what's made all the difference.
That is so important, not just showing up, but raising your hand when the opportunity comes your way. I said that to someone. I was actually on a TV show a couple of weeks ago. A gentleman was interviewing me, and he said, Cami, we're doing this show right now because I heard you say a couple of years ago, when opportunity comes up, raise your hand, say, and volunteer, and be ready, willing, and able to step up and say yes. So that's awesome. It's so great to hear about different businesses and concepts. I mean, clearly this guy, is extremely successful. He's got thousands, tens of thousands of followers. And he's got all these classic cars out there. And I never even heard of that before. I help do antique car shows, and I'm thinking to myself, when I do an antique car show and there's 100 cars there, what a great place to say, hey, here's this thing.
I will connect you right after this interview. So you'll be connected to Ryan, and you can, he'll show you all the stuff he's doing, and maybe there's a way for you guys to collaborate, because that's what I teach the people I work with. Find a way to collaborate with the people that have a way to bring value to your network, and you have a way to bring value to them. Right? It's got to be a win-win. So find a way to serve your way to success. It's really the biggest concept I'm always teaching people. Serve your way to success, because here's something that most entrepreneurs don't know. When you first contact somebody, if you were to try and sell them what you do, right? Like, if you're a consultant, you're a coach, you've got some amazing marketing system, whatever it is, out of 100 people you go straight up to for the first time and tell them about your business, only 2 would actually be interested in signing up. Out of 100 people, 80% of your sales in your business will happen between the 5th and the 12th contact. So that means why even try? Why even try to sell? Why just try not find what value can I bring to you? There's got to be some way. Like when I literally have a sales call process when I'm working with people I'm bringing on my team, and I tell them the first 15 minutes of the call, not one thing about our business. It's all about them. Let's learn about them. Let's learn exactly what they do, how they do it, what challenges they have, what ways we can be of value. Because before we can even say what we do, we need to know how we can even help them, or if we can. Maybe it's just we need to plug them into one of our resources. We have so many members that we can help them collaborate with. Just like right now, after this call, I'm going to connect you with Ryan. Maybe there'll be some collaboration. That'll be an awesome thing that'll happen. And I love doing that kind of stuff. Just say, you need to know that person. Oh man, you should know that person. And I've created some pretty cool collaboration partnerships already. So it's really cool to see something like that be able to be formed.
Well, it's the law of reciprocity. You know, when you are doing something out of the goodness of your heart, people want to reciprocate. They want to help. They want to give back. So that's awesome. So you mentioned membership. So there's membership, there's group stuff, there's you on stage speaking, there's one-on-one. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, what can someone, how can somebody get involved with you on the smallest level and then on the grandest level?
All right, so here's what I've kind of structured for my 2018. You've heard of Ty Lopez, right?
Of course. I've
Okay,
seen
so he's my biggest referral partner. Last year, I had a conversation with God at January 27th, and is a crazy, crazy story. It would take about 15 minutes for me to say right now, but the sum it up, right after that conversation, which I got instruction on exactly what I needed to do, which was help the orphans. You have no fear. That was my simple instructions. Help the orphans. You have no fear. Right after that, I just let opportunity open itself and just showed up everywhere I could. I met Ty Lopez a month later. He puts me in his program. He starts promoting my business. He spends millions of dollars a month promoting the programs that I'm in, promoting my business. It's crazy. I'm in there teaching people how to go to businesses and promote mobile apps, and then partner with my company to build the mobile app so they can just focus on serving their customers. So it made it simple, right? And now every single week I get new business, new customers, new leads, new opportunities. So what it's allowed me to do now this year is I can free up my time from having to go to networking events and expos and try to sell apps, where now I can focus on helping the orphans. And here's how I'm doing it. So I've created this TV show. It's called From Orphan to CEO, where I'm literally going to kids that have been aged out of the foster care system and teaching them mentorship and entrepreneurship. What saved me? Because here's the craziest thing. I don't know if you know this, but 2 out of 3 kids that are aging out of the foster care system within 1 year, they're either dead, homeless, or in jail. 2 out of 3. So my goal is within the next 5 years, I want to change that statistic. I want it to be 2 out of 3 of these kids have a mentor. They understand entrepreneurship and they own their own business. Right? A lot of these kids are lost, just like I was. I ended up homeless twice and ended up having to figure out what did I do wrong? What am I not doing right? As soon as I surrounded myself with people that are on much successful, higher level than I am, and then just be a sponge for knowledge for what they do and what they know, then I can reverse engineer that for myself, reverse engineer that for the people that follow me. Because think of it like this, we're all on a highway in a car, right? There's people in front of us and there's people behind us. The people in front of us, these are our mentors. These are the people we should be learning from. The people behind us, they want to get to the path that we're already on. So there's always people that we can look behind and be able to help along the way, right? So this is what I want to teach in this program, From Orphan to CEO. And the way we do it is I literally go through a program called Manifestation. It's a business certification program. Yeah, like manifestation.
I love it.
Right? Because it allows them to take on whatever they want to do in life and turn that into a monetizable business. They'll be able to monetize intellectual property. They'll monetize their services, add revenue, partnerships, JVs. There's so many ways that I can teach them how to promote and grow a business. They can even do stuff like drop shipping, where they don't even have to be involved in the sales process, right? We teach them all kinds of cool stuff, and even licensing. I mean, I can go on and on, but the idea for me is I get them certified to everything that I wish I knew on day one of my business, right? I'm 7 years in. I've worked with over 1,000 brands worldwide. I've been named one of the best by Facebook. I've been featured by, NBC, Bloomberg Radio, Inc. magazine, all kinds of crazy fun places. And it's allowed me to really get access and opportunity, because now I can get to be able to work with people like Les Brown and Ty Lopez and Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter and all these amazing people, and not just work with them, but learn from them. I get to see their process, reverse engineer what they're doing in their successful businesses, and be able to say, here's how it's done, guys. Here's how you need to do it before they even start a business. Once they've certified through there, then we actually build them a business. My company, that's what I do. I work on automation marketing. I build apps. I build sales funnels. We build websites. We build their business. It's automated and monetized. And now they can say, boom, here's our business. And on top of that, I got an app, my own app, Learn with Manny. And I promote them in my app. Every graduate, their business gets promoted in our app. We have their own section for them. It's pretty amazing. And it's all just to be able to help these kids understand what helped me, mentorship and entrepreneurship.
I love that. I love the name of it, the manifesting. I love that you are helping human beings that are just coming up, like, you know, the enlightened ones that are going to be our next generation. Most of the time when I'm working with people, they're 30 years old or older. So you're grabbing a hold of people when they're really moldable and when they're really at a place where they need that mentorship. Now, you said you had a conversation with God. Are we talking about praying? Are we talking about meditating? Speak to us on how did you have that little conversation?
All right. Well, you asked for it. It's all right. So January 27th, it was a crazy day. I got a call from a good friend of mine that told me something crazy that happened to her from somebody else that was a good friend of mine that was providing me 75% of my business. And I was like, wow, I can't even be next to that person anymore. And now I'd have to make a decision to cut ties with that and basically risk being homeless again within 30 days because it was just all of my income at most. And then at the other side of it, looking at like I have to start something fresh, something new, and figure out a way, and like very quickly. So I was kind of lost. I was confused, and I was laying on my bed. I'm looking up at the ceiling. My wife's on the bed with me, and we're just silent, not talking to each other. And I'm just thinking and confused. And I didn't really talk to her too much about it. And I was just, she knows, she can tell I'm frustrated. She tells I'm confused and knows that like, man, I got something on his mind, but what is it? So later on that day, everything goes gone with the day. And it's around midnight. I'm walking my dog outside, and normally my street is very loud, right? I lived on a busy street where there was a high school on this side. There was a elementary school on this side. There was an ambulance or a fire station this side and a hospital. There was a nursing home on this side, and there was like a 24. I mean, there was people all the time everywhere, cars going by all the time. But it was silent. It was really quiet. And I'm walking my dog, and I'm hearing this voice in my head saying, put the dog away and go inside. Or no, put the dog away and keep walking. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I'm keep walking, and then it's like, put the dog away and keep walking. I was like, all right, I'll put the dog away. So I go put the dog away. And I keep walking, and it's really quiet outside. And then I'm starting to hear these voices. They're not of my own because I don't speak this way. I don't speak in thou shalt and this and that and asking me weird questions like, why are you on this path still? Why are you still doing this? Why are you still making these decisions on that? Why is it so hard for you to decide, right? And then I'm like, well, I don't know. I was just really confused and just kind of like, what is going on? Like, who is talking to me? This is weird. And for many years, and I've told my wife this many times, I don't think God pays attention to me. I don't think he knows me. He doesn't see me. You know, if he's got so much going on, there's so much other things to pay attention to. I would be delegated somebody. That was always my thing. Somebody would, I'm thinking business wise. I'm thinking if God's going to do anything, he's going to delegate it to an angel, one of my past relatives. It's never going to be him. And that's always been that. And so it was a weird feeling. And then I started asking questions. So I go, okay, well, what is my purpose? Why am I here? I know I'm not supposed to, I mean, at that point I was getting really good at selling apps, and that's all I was really doing. And I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to be here to sell apps for the rest of my life. Like, what am I supposed to do here? And as clear as day, I hear it, help the orphans. And I was like, but I do. I mean, I give to nonprofits, you know, I help out kids here and there, you know, da, 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 da. And I was just trying to make excuses for it. And help the orphans came back. And I'm like, well, how? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what? What do you mean? And like, he just kept telling me, like, help the orphans. You have no fear. You have no fear. And I was like, that's kind of weird. That kind of threw me off a little bit. And so the conversation almost ended at that point. But all of a sudden, I get this big white line that goes in the middle of the sidewalk while I'm walking down the street. And on this side of it, it was all bright. On this side of it, it was all dark. And then at that point, anything I thought about instantly went lighter, dark, lighter, dark. And so I thought about that guy that was helping me get 75% of my income in my business. Boom, dark. Thought about my friend that called me that was telling me about what happened to her. And I was like, she went to light. Thought about my wife, went to light. Thought about people in my family that I thought were good, they went to dark. Thought about people in my life that were around me in my circle that I thought were great, went to dark. There was just so many weird, like, instant answers, in a sense, is how I saw it. And then I was like, okay, this is just getting weird. I got to go to sleep. So I go inside and I go to sleep, and I had this crazy dream. This dream where a mountain is on fire, okay? And it just, people are running down it. Their clothes are all torn. Their faces all bloody. They're just, everything's a mess. It's chaos. And everyone's running down, but for some reason I'm running up. And then I get to the top of the mountain, and there's these like black-like creatures that are just flying in these infinity circles. And like every time they come down, they hit somebody. Every time they, I was like, and it kind of came back to me, that thing, you have no fear. So I instantly was like, you have no power, leave. And they all left. And then I woke up. And then the craziest thing happened. I wake up, my wife, I was like, babe, you will not believe what happened last night. And she goes, oh, what happened? And I'm like, I had a conversation with God. And she's like, tell me what happened. And then they go through the story. And they tell her. And she's like crying by the end of it. And I'm like, why are you crying? And she goes, remember yesterday when you were laying on the bed, looking up at the ceiling? I was praying to God that he would reveal himself to you. That he would give you answers.
Wow.
It's still a hard thing to get through. That woman has power, man. I don't know. Crazy power, but I believe with no doubt in my mind that happened. And it's ever since then, crazy opportunities keep throwing my way. I mean, getting connected to somebody who's going to make my business almost fully automated. Then getting connected to opportunities where, hey, Manny, we want to take this idea and we want to put it into a TV show. Hey, Manny, we want to partner with you on this idea. Then I come up with this genius concept to create a program called Network of Influence, where we've raised so much. We've already helped. Let's put it this way. It cost us $250 hard costs to be able to take an orphan and take them into the whole process and make them a CEO. Okay? From orphan to CEO, $250. We've mapped it all out. So far, since December, since we started Network of Influence, since December, it's only been a couple of months, okay? We've already been able to help over 500 orphans be able to start their own business.
Wow.
So it's amazing how we can be able to structure this. And it's just amazing how, like, people just keep falling into my lap. They're like, oh, hey, I used to work in the foster care industry for 15 years. I can help you navigate how to get laws put into place. And then someone's over here like, oh, yeah, I used to help kids that are aging out of the foster care system. We have thousands of kids that we can help you work with. Oh, here's another organization I get connected to. That, they're managing 10,000 orphans just in Orange County alone that you could help collaborate with and help. I mean, it's just weird how just everything just keeps falling into place because I show up. And I don't care about the money anymore. The money for me, it doesn't really matter. The money for me is how many kids can I help? That's what matters to me. If I create revenue, all right, let me divide that by 250. How many kids can I now take into my program? That's what's exciting. So that's really what I'm doing for the next, I don't know how long, for as long as I can think of. But for me, it's, seeing a purpose that is a lot bigger than mine. Because I saw myself, even how big I was getting, super app developer of the world, that doesn't matter in the scheme of things. But imagine taking a kid who could be stuck on medications, who could be living a life of trauma because they were abused. They could have been like me. I suffered malnutrition, abuse, neglect, and even torture. I have a scar right here in my chest from being burnt with a cigarette from a foster parent, because I was throwing a tantrum at like 2 years old. I mean, come on. And these kids, even close to 30 years later, are still dealing with the same exact things because we're putting our kids that have lost everything, they have no family to turn to, putting them into a stranger's home. And a lot of these strangers, they're literally just, it's a money-making concept for them where, all right, let's get 7 kids in here and then be able to get X amount of dollars for them. Oh, let's go put them on drugs so we can get X times more. I mean, it's just chaos. I mean, I'm talking to kids on a weekly basis that have been through the system, that are out of the system now, that are completely lost because all they did their whole life was just try to survive. And now that they're on their own, that's all they know how to do is just survive. They don't know how to skill. They don't know how to grow. They don't even know what the word mentor is. And now I can come in there and say, look, I've been where you've been. I've been in your shoes. I've been in the same boat that you're swimming in right now. Here's the way out. Now you can find something you love to do. I don't care what it is. You want to be an actor? Boom. We'll connect you to people that are getting people on all kinds of TV shows and movies. Oh, you want to be a musician? Hey, connect with our expert in musician here. Is going to teach you how to play the guitar completely free. Hey, you want to be a speaker? Boom. Let's get you on some stages. We'll host events ourselves and put you on stages. I mean, there's so many cool things that we're doing in this program, and it's all tied in to the purpose of what God told me to do January 27th, help the orphans.
Well, I got goosebumps right before you teared up when you said what you said about your wife. I got goosebumps. And what I want to mirror back to you that I heard you say that's so important is, number one, your wife was a huge catalyst in making that happen for you. And so to appreciate the people around us, to know that you had the conversation with God, but the conversation may or may not have happened if she hadn't have invited or asked for you to have that. And so you know that it's a team effort. It's not just you, it's all the people around you. So for our viewers to really be open to that, especially like you said, you're getting to a place where it's like, hey, I'm Mr. App King. We never want our ego to get in the way and feel like it's just us, or we're the front of the house and forget about the people in the back of the house. Because a lot of times it's the people that are supporting us that are why we are where we are. And so I want to thank you for honoring your wife and for acknowledging that. The other thing that I heard was that you were open to listening. So you're out walking your dog and you put the dog away, and you had to hear it a couple of times, but you finally said, okay, you know what, there's something inside me that's saying this thing. And so you started to listen. For me, I've prayed many times, I want to be more intuitive. I want to know what my knowing is. I want to hear my own intuition, but then you hear that little voice or you get that little feeling, and it's indigestion and I'm just paranoid. It's so important to be able to listen to that little voice, because that little voice is coming from somewhere for a reason. So I honor you for listening to your voice. And, all these things being said, now look at the 500, but soon it'll be 5,000 and then 50,000 and 500,000, and all the lives that are being changed because you recognize the people around you. You recognize when that voice was coming to you, and that's just super yummy, delicious. And what you're doing with the orphans, I never really thought about it before. I wasn't exactly an orphan, but coming from being adopted, there's all the things that come with my, not being committed and not ever feeling like I was in a family and never feeling really accepted and things like that. So that is such a beautiful thing that you're doing for us in the world who felt like the island of misfit toys. We're kind of on the island of misfit toys. So thank you for that and for what you're doing. One of the things I talk about is cause marketing. Find a cause that you're on purpose about, that you're on passion about, and partner that purpose and passion with your profession, your profit, in a very win-win-win way for everybody. So that you're not just stroking a check as a philanthropist. You're not just feeding the orphans when you go on Sunday, but you're actually doing something that builds them and builds your business and your brand and who you are and how people see you and receive you. So that's so yummy. So, to bring our time to an end, Manny, I just want to honor you for giving. Oh, and the other thing for everybody to notice is I asked Manny, so many of you are watching. There's hundreds of you, thousands of you that will watch this video that are following Manny, that look up to him, that are taking the programs, whose lives are being changed. You know what? People like Manny who achieve a high level are always willing to give back. And all you have to do is ask. The higher up the food chain, as it were, the more generous and the more gracious and the more giving and loving people are. And so ask. Worst thing they can say is no, thank you. And the best they can do is say, yes, please, and then come on and share with more people. So I honor you for that. What is the one little thing that our viewers can do right now that won't even cost them any money, that will just help them right in this moment to step up, step out, step into a new way of being seen, Manny?
I would say the best way to get all of everything that I do and everything that I've learned, because I'm a giver. I love to just teach you, because 97% of the people you share your blueprint with, they're not going to take action without you. They want to see it with you, not just see it and then go do it themselves. So teach people. I teach all the time. I've taught everything that I do in my business. You can learn for free, and you can learn it in my app. It's called Learn with Manny. Okay, completely free. Download it in your app stores. It's got my network of influence where you can connect with all of our superstars in business, people like, Kevin Harrington, Les Brown, Greg Reed, all these amazing people in business, and they're going to teach you the strategies of what they're doing. And you can learn all kinds of great stuff. I've got a program in there, Manifestation, From Orphan to CEO. Everything I do is in that app, and it's all for free. So check it out there, and that's the best way to be able to just get access to everything in one place.
I love that. I've heard so many times, give away your best stuff, give it away. And, people that are of the collaborative mindset understand that when we're in competition, we're like, oh, I don't want to share that with anybody. What if they steal it? What if they take it? And like you just said, look, 97% of people aren't going to do anything, but that 3% that will, that's where you make a difference. So Manny Lopez, I want to thank you and honor you. I want to invite everyone to go get that app. I'm going to get on my phone and download the app myself. I haven't seen you speak myself personally, but I look forward to seeing you on stage. Clearly, you are an educator, you're an influencer, you're an inspirer. Being in the room with you just now, I've got goosebumps just thinking about going to events where you're speaking. So thank you so much for giving us your time today. You're very generous.
You're very welcome.
Bye, everybody.
Always remember, too blessed to be stressed.
Too blessed to be stressed. Bye. Be fabulous, fierce, and on fire, too.